Like, he was deep in my shit, girl. Like, he was tearing me up. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Join the family. Without further ado, make sure you follow me at _PrinceCham on Instagram. And make sure you add me on Snapchat at PrinceCham7895. So now today we're back with another story time, and today I'm going to basically tell you guys how my ex-boyfriend wanted to drill me while we were at his job site. But without further ado, let's get into this story time. Okay, so before we get down into this video, first, if you haven't watched part 1, 2, and 3 to this story time, I will suggest y'all to like run over to those videos, catch up, and then come back to this video. By the way, also I'm going to make sure that I post like, you know, those 3-part videos down in the description so y'all could like find it way easier, because lately that's what I've been doing, so I'm just going to keep doing that. So if y'all haven't watch part 1 to 3 videos that I already did in the past, I would suggest y'all run over to those videos, watch those 3 videos, because that's the only way this video is going to make sense to y'all, okay? So this story time happened before he actually told me that he was locked up like 7 times. So what had happened was, this one particular day I was at work, and, you know, I was working at my old job at the time, you know, boom, boom, boom. So me and my ex-boyfriend, you know, as y'all know in the story times, I called him Steven. So we're going to still go with that name, okay? Steven and I was supposed to go out that night or whatever, like, you know, just to hang out or whatever. So when I was at work, you know, Steven messaged me. Steven was like, you know, I'm coming to pick you up after work. Just let me know what time you're off and da-da-da. So fast forward later on that time, it was time for me to leave work. So, you know, I messaged Steven, and he messaged me back, and he was like, yo, I'm currently at the job site. I'm about to head over to your workplace in about a couple of minutes or so. So I'm like, okay, cool. So for those of y'all who don't know, Steven is a carpenter. So what had happened was, after he finally arrived at my job or whatever, I got out where he was like parked at, you know, I got into his van, you know, we kissed, hugged, da-da-da. So fast forward, while I was in the van, you know, he was looking up the location for his job site. He basically was like, yo, I'm about to like head over quickly over to my job site, because he still had like unfinished work there to do. So he does work like late nights and stuff like at the job site or whatever, and it's allowed because he basically owns his own business, okay? So what had happened was, he ended up telling me that he needs to go swing by his job site because he needs a couple things to like, you know, finish or whatever. So he's like, are you fine with that? Are you okay with that? And da-da-da. So I'm like, yeah, I'm cool with that. And boom, boom, boom. So we pulled out of the parking lot and we were on our way to his job site. And then he basically asked me if I'm okay, like if I'm hungry and da-da-da. So I was hungry that night. So I told him yes. And, you know, he was like, what do you want to eat? I'm like, you know, I feel for Popeyes, so let's just stop by at Popeyes. Mind you, girl, it was like 9 p.m. at this time. Popeyes closed at 10. So yeah, we ended up stopping at Popeyes. I ordered like a 3-piece for myself, and he ordered like a 2-piece for himself, because he don't really fuck with chicken like that, but like he still eats it or whatever. But yeah, so we ordered our food, we got our food. He asked me if I wanted to stay in the restaurant or I want to like go back to the van and eat. I'm like, I want to go back to the van and eat. Like, I don't want to, you know, be around, like, da-da-da. So we ended up going back to his van. So meanwhile, we're eating, you know, we were talking, you know, I was asking him about his day. He was asking me about my day and how it's work and da-da-da-da. So meanwhile, we're talking. During this time, we were still in like the earlier parts of our relationship. Like, we were still getting to know each other. So this was around the time where Steven finally told me about him being locked up. And he was like explaining to me about his, you know, his past situations and, you know, gang and stuff. Like, he's been explaining all that to me at this time while we were eating Popeyes in his van, okay? So yeah. After we got done eating, I don't know what happened, but after we finished eating, we started making out. So meanwhile, we're making out, you know, we were touchy-feeling on each other. Of course, Steven got hard, you know, that big thick dick of his.
I don't know what the hell you feeding him, but he is too damn big!
He then started up his van and we were basically on our way over to his job site. So after driving over to his job site for a while, we finally arrived. And after we arrived, you know, we got out of the van or whatever. We walked up to the house. After we got to the house, he was searching for his keys. He finally found his keys. At some point, he thought he left his keys at, you know, a different location or whatever. So he found his keys, you know, he opened the door and then we got in. So after we got to the house and we got in or whatever, you know, I was looking around. The house was real big, like it was real large. Like it was a pretty house.
Now that's what I call a nice looking house.
So when we got there and we got in or whatever, he was now working in the living room area. Well, what's supposed to be the living room area. He was, you know, doing his, like, you know, his thing in there. Also, he was a painter, so he, you know, paints the walls. So yeah, so he was like at the point where he was like painting the walls and stuff. You know, I offered to help or whatever, and I put my stuff down. I put on this apron thing that he told me to put on or whatever. So I put on that and, you know, I grabbed the brush and I basically started to paint the walls. So meanwhile I was there painting the walls, he was like, let's play some music. He loved my playlist. Like, my playlist is really freaky. So I ended up turning on, you know, my playlist, my music. I was playing my music or whatever. And, you know, Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, like, all that good shit. I was working on the right side. He was working on the left side of the wall. So, you know, we were just, like, painting to meet in the middle, basically. Meanwhile, I was there, you know, painting. Steven then, like, stopped painting, and then he slowly walked up behind me and started, like, kissing my neck. Now, Steven already knew that one of my weak spots is my neck. You know, the minute he started kissing or touching or blowing on my neck, it just gets my gears going. He was, like, literally kissing on my neck and grabbing my waist and stuff. I then, you know, turn around and we started kissing. So, meanwhile, we're there making out. We were kissing and kissing and kissing, girl. Girl, I'm having flashbacks right now. And he was grabbing me all over, girl. Like, he was grabbing everything, girl. He started grabbing my ass. He squeezed it, like, he spanked it, like, oh, girl, like, he was really getting me in the mood.
He be doing his big one on me!
So, at one point when we were, like, making out, he pushed me up against the wall. He lifts me up and he told me to wrap my legs around him or whatever. So that's what I did. So we were there kissing, making out, he was grabbing my ass, talking dirty. He was a great dirty talker. Like, he just really knew what to say and, like, you know, da-da-da. He kept, like, putting his hand down into my pants and, like, trying to, like, finger my ass and stuff. I didn't really want him to do all that because, girl, a bitch don't stink, but, like, you know, when you just got off work, you're not really trying to do the deeds, girl, but, like, we were in a relationship and he just wanted it in that moment, girl. So, like, he kept, like, you know, he went down into my pants and he just started fingering, you know, my moochie. He was fingering my moochie, girl. I was moaning, I was biting my lips. He was kissing on my neck, sucking down on my nipples and stuff, because he basically lifted my shirt up and he was, like, you know, sucking on my nipples and stuff. And I was, like, kissing his neck, you know, sucking on, you know, his da-da-da. He was salty because he was sweaty and I was sweaty, so I know we both was salty as fuck. He was salty, but, like, it wasn't salty to the point where I'm gonna stop, because at the end of the day, this is my man. Like, I don't give a fuck. And he was, like, doing his thing. I was doing my thing. He then let me go and I basically, you know, put my feet back onto the floor. And then, like, he told me to turn around. I turn around and he kneeled down on his, like, you know, knees and stuff. And he pulled my pants all the way down and he opened my cheeks and he just went to munching, girl. Like, he was like really destroying my moochie. Like, he was really eating like my moochie was his motherfucking dinner. He was eating and munching down there, girl. He then got up after a while. I bent down and I started sucking his dick. So meanwhile, I was sucking his thick ass dick, girl. Like, his dick was so thick and pretty. Like, and he was just so shaved too. Like, he's always shaved. He's always smelling good down there too. So, you know, the dick was dicking, girl. So like, yeah. So meanwhile, I was down there, you know, I was sucking the dick. I was slurping it up or whatever. And I was going and going and going, girl. And then after a while, I got back up. We started kissing again. He then told me to turn around. I turned around. He spat into his hand, you know, put it on his dick. And then, like, he was trying to basically enter me. He was trying to enter me or whatever. He kept, like, you know, trying to position the dick to, like, put it in. But it wasn't going in, girl, because I was, like, really, really tired, girl. But after trying for a while, girl, eventually, you know, his head got to the hole. But, like, honestly, like, this was, like, the first time we were about to have sex, like. There's other times that happened, obviously I already told you guys this, where we could have had sex, but I didn't really want him to, like, you know, fuck me because it was still too early in the relationship. This was also one of those moments where I was just in my head and I'm like, if I let this guy fuck me, he's never gonna take me serious whenever I tell him no, like, da-da-da. So that was going on in my head. So I was like, you know, I cannot let him go in. So meanwhile, you know, after he put the tip there and he was about to, you know, go in me, I basically stopped him and I told him, like, no, like, let's wait it out. But meanwhile, I was like telling him that, he was like whispering in my ears, you know, touching me all over, girl, like kissing and biting my neck. And it was really, really turning me on, girl. And I really, really wanted him inside me. After, you know, trying to position his dick again to, like, go inside of me, he finally went in, girl. And, like, we just started fucking, girl. He was fucking me. Like, he was literally fucking me. And, you know, honestly, it sounds so crazy to saying, because we were in someone's soon-to-be home. That's so fucked up. But, like, girl, anyways. So, yeah. So, like, we started fucking, girl. And, you know, he was deep in my shit, girl. Like, he was tearing me up. Like, I was screaming and he was, like, fucking me down, girl. Like, he was really eating this pussy up. Mind you, I was still, you know, close to the wall or whatever. So I was basically, I had my hands like this onto the wall while he was behind me, like, you know, tearing my shit up. You know, we then got onto the floor in doggy style position, and then, you know, he put it in and I was just like there. He was just like, you know, beating my shit. And then we switched missionary, and then we started doing that, and then we just basically switched up the positions. And eventually he bust and he came inside me because we did it like unprotected. And that was basically that on that. So after he came or whatever, we just like laid there onto the floor because there was like paint patches onto the floor too. So I knew for a fact that there was like paint patches on me. So we were laying on the floor or whatever, and he was like, that was amazing. Like, are you ready for round 2? And I was like, no, like, I'm really tired. So I told him, no, I'm not down for round 2. Da-da-da. So, you know, da-da-da. So after we got up off of the floor, we ended up putting our clothes back on. And then we basically finished paint or whatever. And then we left. And that was basically that on that. That's it for today, you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Join the family. And like I always say, make sure you love yourself and be yourself, period. And I'll see y'all in the next YouTube video. Wow. Bye-bye.